Zadandani, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, we are talking about the latest chapter of My Hero Academia, which I am currently forgetting which one it is because I'm just going a bit insane. Uh, yeah. We're somewhere in the 300s, I know that much. uh, but obviously, I will be putting in the actual number in the description or in the title of this video. But the point is that this latest chapter was not as good-ish, maybe, as a lot of what we've been seeing with Deku, but it was equally as important as a lot of, like I said, what we've been seeing with Deku. Pretty much all this chapter is seeing Deku and how he actually handles this arc has basically been dealing with Deku and how he's been handling everything. But this one focused more on the others who are working with him. That, of course, being Endeavor, Hawks, and Genist. And while we do get to see a little bit of what they are dealing with, we don't actually see much of it. Pretty much the most important thing that's happening during this episode is everyone hating on them. Like, what the heck, guys? These guys are trying. They are trying their hardest. Sure. Absolutely. Endeavor, terrible father. There is no one who is going to debate that. Is he getting better? We know that he is, but a lot of these people don't. The fact is that this is a perfect example of what happens when celebrities do something. And I think that that's an important thing to realize here. And a lot of the whole problem that I have with cancel culture, a lot of people see the bad and they assume, oh, they haven't improved since then. They're awful. They're blah, 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 and all this bullcrap. They hear about something awful that they've done, and I think that Endeavor is... I don't think that he was intended this way, ever. But if... it's shocking that the whole stuff with Endeavor and all of this stuff is happening basically simultaneously with when cancel culture is going rampant here in America. Basically, people hate Endeavor so much that they basically want him to die because he was an awful father and did all of these really bad things, on top of the fact that they are seeing all of these heroes in a bad light because of the fact that Shigaraki, the worst villain that they have dealt with in years, is still on the loose. All of these factors are really important, but the fact is that people don't see the real person who did these things. And now, this isn't me defending anyone specifically or anything. Most fans are in agreement at this point that Endeavor was a terrible father. He's improving, but he was a terrible father. And that is the important thing to note. Fans like him now, because we have seen his growth from the beginning and to now. And I think it's also important for people to realize that Endeavor had a lot of baggage even before now. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if half of Naruhara hates this man before this even happens. Remember, he is one of the big reasons why Crawler, aka Koichi from the Vigilantes manga, is on the run for a good part of this, for a good part of the later half of his story. the later end of his story, which is what is currently going on. Right now, probably, like I said, a lot of Naruhara specifically hates him more than anyone else. Obviously, I don't think that people like the Crawler necessarily hate him, but other people, the random civilians who have been seeing the good that Koichi did, and seeing Endeavor basically considering him, he is a criminal and he has to pay, that put him in a really bad light already. Other factors have been putting him in a bad light basically since the beginning of My Hero Academia. Constant distance from the fans, a constant hatred of all villains. He's not gonna let any villains ever get away. And the fact is that a lot of these people, they know certain aspects about these so-called villains. And the fact is that this is basically just the tipping point. So much of what has happened with Endeavor has been on the bad side of history for so long, and when the thing that was the reason that he was doing all of this comes to light, instantly everyone is going to hate on him. Here's the facts. A lot of what made people dislike Endeavor in the first place is hatred based off of a man hurting. And the fact is that people don't understand this about him. And it's just gonna happen. People lash out when they don't understand things. And I think that's an important factor for people to understand, especially in this modern day when a lot of people are lashing out for ridiculous reasons, saying that things need to be done better, and this, that, and the other thing. This is awful. This is good. This is never supposed to happen. All of these different aspects that we've been seeing for way longer than we really want to admit. Right now we're at a tipping point, because people are starting to realize that certain people did some, honestly, really bad things. But the fact is that these people are refusing to forgive people because they're at a tipping point. Everyone is on edge. Everyone is hurting. Everyone wants things to be better, but the people who actually are trying to do things better often get flack because they did really bad things in the past. It's just a fact that Hawks, Genist, and Endeavor, I mean, sure, Genist is a little bit more okay than the other two, but those two specifically, Hawks and Endeavor, they have really bad history right now. Hawks killed a villain and is the son of a really bad villain from which a lot of the adults actually know who he was. But the fact is that these two have such a bad history about them that people can't help but feel unsafe with these two people being the worst, thinking that these two people are the worst people that could be leading the country, or leading Japan towards getting better. They don't want to accept these people. They want people who are perfect to actually stand up and take the fight. People like All Might. And I think that that is something that needs to come to light. That All Might was not perfect. Obviously, people like Midoriya and a lot of and most of the heroes, they absolutely know that All Might wasn't a perfect human being. He couldn't do everything right. Sure, he always wanted to be a hero, and strove to make sure that he was a symbol of peace. But the fact is that a lot of factors were not in his control, and he has a bad history to a degree. His power came from the worst villain right now. The worst villain that has ever existed. He's dealing with that. His power came from the worst man in their history, except for maybe Hitler, but we don't even know if Hitler existed in their universe. Probably did, but that's not the point. The point is that All for One, All for One was the worst supervillain that has ever existed in the history of the My Hero universe. And All Might's power comes from him, to a degree. Sure, it has been fighting against him for all of this time, but if that were to be revealed, then instantly people would be even less trusting of even All Might. Because right now, people are so distrusting of everything that it's just a powder keg. People want people to blame for everything. I mean, honestly, think about it. Every bad thing that has happened in America, who takes the blame? Always it's the President of the United States. Whether it was Obama, or it was Trump, or now Biden, all of these people, they always get the blame. No matter what it is. Was it Bush's or Clinton's fault? I don't remember. Bush's fault. Was it Bush's fault when all of the chaos that happened in for 9/11 happened? Was it his fault? No, it wasn't. But was he blamed for it? Absolutely. So many things are blamed on the big people, the leading people of the country. COVID had nothing to do with Trump at all. I mean, sure, the spread was his fault because, well, not all of it, but some of the spread was his fault because of the fact that he held public meetings and stuff with a lot of people and didn't tell people to wear masks to these things. But sure, that spread was his fault. But COVID coming to America at all, was it his fault? No, it wasn't. Is it Biden's fault that things are getting better? No. I mean, sure, he's taking a bit more of a stance, but honestly, I think a lot of the other people are working on him a lot more than he is. Not the point, but the point still remains that these things aren't the people in charge's fault always. Sometimes bad things happen, and you have to understand that. But the fact is that people will never understand that. They want someone to blame. And while, sure, they blame Shigaraki and they blame All for One for being the main culprits, they blame the people who are in charge, the heroes, the cops, for the fact that they let those people get away. They were the ones who couldn't stop them. And because of that, these heroes are forced to still make amends for it. And it's important to note this because in the same degree, we also saw that multiple heroes stepped down because they understood instantly, as soon as this stuff starts getting more and more intense, people are going to come to the heroes who were barely involved at all, and they're going to say, it's your fault. It's your fault that these people got away. More and more of these people are going to be getting the blame. The heroes who stepped down and stopped, they're no longer going to be heroes. Yeah, they're retiring, but it's because of the fact that this isn't the time for them. And if, more than likely, even if things get better, then they're going to get the credit. If Endeavor is going to improve himself and show that he is worthy of being the pro hero that he is, then instantly as soon as things get better, instead of thanking Endeavor, people are going to still be focusing on the fact that he was a terrible father. And instead, go to the people who hardly were involved and say, thank you, thank you. More than likely, and let me say this again, more than likely, the two people who are going to get the most good stuff from what is happening right now is going to be Midoriya and Genis. Because the two of them have no bad history. Sure, Genis has a little bit of bad history because he went through with Hawk's plan, but everyone else, the other two, Hawks and Endeavor, they're going to get no credit for any of this. Because everyone is still going to hate them for everything that they've done. And that is insane to me. I know this got a little bit political, but this is what is important to talk about when we're dealing with these characters. These characters are changing. They're improving. They're getting better. But people are not going to see it that way. Instead, they are going to see these people as, oh, they're just trying to improve themselves. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of the reason why many YouTubers, especially nowadays, don't want to get involved with charity work. Because of the fact that a lot of times, charity stuff is seen as you're trying to make up for something bad. Because of people like, you guessed it, a lot of the people who did bad shit. People like PewDiePie. Even though he has done charity for multiple reasons, besides just the fact that he had a lot of problems in the past, there's a lot of stigmatism, because now, if a celebrity does something for charity, it's instantly seen as, oh, they must have done something bad. And it's one of the reasons why the only people that can really do charity are people who don't really have any real stigma on them and have done this multiple times and also aren't super big celebrities. People like the Minecraft YouTubers. I believe Green, Rendog, Scar, and I'm forgetting who the other person was. B-Dubs. The four of them recently did a live stream where they raised a lot of money for charity. Have any of them done anything wrong? No. Which is great. It's fantastic. Great job, you four. You did an amazing job. MatPat never had any problems, so he can do charity. But a lot of these other people who may have something, then they get these problems. It's just a fact of life. Even if you haven't done something big that was a problem, sometimes you're still going to be seen as, oh, you're doing this because you did something wrong and you don't want people to think about it. Yeah, it happens. So, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to it, and I'm not going to get into all of that, but that's the facts. That this is going to be even more chaotic as we continue. And more than likely, most of this arc is going to be focusing on Deku. But right now, this episode, this chapter, even though I didn't talk much about the chapter itself and what exactly happened in it, most of it was pretty straightforward. Talking about how Deku is doing all of this stuff, he's basically being bait and all of that jazz. I think that this chapter was important because it lets us see the other sides. Obviously, we're going to be seeing more and more of Deku. Deku is going to be the main focus of this arc. But I think that having this chapter, but also getting one more chapter, at least, maybe more, where we get to see the rest of the family, basically getting to see everyone from UA, what they're dealing with, I think that's going to be important. And a lot of fans, I think, will be really excited to see how they're handling it, and are they looking for Deku? Are they trying to get him back? All of this jazz. Because I think that they will. I honestly can't imagine that Aizawa isn't doing something. And I think I know the answer as to what he's doing. Not going to tell you guys what it is, but it might have something to do with vigilantes. We'll talk about that in a future video if it actually comes up. But this video is getting pretty long, and I think it's time to end it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed these 2 videos today and are looking forward to seeing the My Hero Academia and Miraculous content that is going to be coming down the pathway very soon. And also, I think we're going to be doing some more stuff with Can before too long, so look forward to seeing all of that jazz. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and of course ring that notification bell. Apparently only about 20% of the people who watch these videos are actually subscribed, so yeah, please subscribe. It helps out a lot more than you may think. And apparently most of my views are coming from frickin' my Miraculous content, but still, if you like this content, please subscribe and ring the notification bell because it really does help us out a lot more than you may think. Of course, if you have any thoughts or theories, please leave them down in the comments below. If you are going to leave a theory, make sure to say theory review somewhere in your comments so that we can talk about it in a future video. Of course, if you guys do want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out all of our links down there, including our social medias, our other channels, and ways that you can support us financially, including the merch store, the Patreon, and the book. And of course, a big thank you to our current patron, Sheeny. But anyways, guys, I have been Electro Ninja, and I will see you guys next time. But on!